This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Jonathan Bixby, the Executive Chairman and Founder of Cykel AI, as you move from the Aquis Exchange to the main board of the London Stock Exchange via an RTO onto Mustang Energy. So you're now trading as Mustang Energy on the LSE. It's effectively a wholly owned subsidiary. So thank you very much for your time, Jonathan. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Really excited about the opportunity to be trading on the LSE today.
Good. Well, first of all, what was the reason behind the move from Aquis to the main board of the LSE?
Yeah, great question, Mark. I mean, I think to start with, you have to go back and say, why did we list anyways, right? So the idea in terms of listing was everyone's hearing about AI. Everyone wants a piece of it. So you can buy some of the Magnificent Seven. You can buy NVIDIA as a stock, as someone who's interested in the public markets. But all of that early stage opportunity and risk reward obviously is being taken by venture capitalists. It happened in the last cycle as well, where venture capitalists get into these tech companies with huge opportunities in big markets early. And the reality is that small folks aren't allowed to invest into those companies because those rounds are filled with big venture capital firms. I think there's an opportunity to have risk capital at the earliest stage in the most exciting spaces in the world. And so if you want to beat the indexes and you want to get something a little bit longer on the risk and reward curve, you would want to invest into an early stage AI company. That's why we listed on Aquis. And frankly, the opportunity now is even larger by listing on the LSE. So the reason that we went up to the LSE was obviously the main board, the most prestigious stock exchange in the world. Again, giving people inventory and opportunity to invest in things that they think are the future.
Okay, excellent. Good stuff. Well done on the move over. I know we spoke not long after IPO when you IPO'd on the Aquis Exchange here, and we did have a good conversation. You made the analogy that ChatGPT was the brains you wanted to make the hands, the sort of utilities for AI here. You were in a closed beta phase. You were sort of 90% there. You were getting ready to go to market, you said, with the best possible product you could. So what have the team been working on since that IPO, since going back to sort of the Q4 of last year? How have things been developing?
Yeah, they've been developing really well, actually. And maybe what I'll do is I'll get a little bit even grander with the vision here, where I had first sort of founded the company on this idea that ChatGPT was the brain, as you well put it, and then we were going to be the hands. I actually think it's even bigger than that. And so the analogy that I'm using now as we get into sales opportunities and partnership opportunities, which are going very well, and I'll get back to, is the idea that we've had, this revolution, for example, in phones, right? When back in the day when I was using a BlackBerry and I swore by the BlackBerry and the iPhone came out, that iPhone was a voila, holy crap moment. And that changed my interaction with the phone forever. I think the same thing happened in the car space, right? Tesla came out with a Tesla. First time I drove a Tesla, I was just literally blown away. And that revolutionized the Tesla for me. On the personal computing side, I think we've gone, obviously massive lengths in the last 50 or 60 years, from the abacus to the punch card to the command interface to the graphical user interface. And the reality is that we are moving into a space where we're going to have autonomous computing. And so when I think of Cykel now, it's more than just hands. Really, what we're trying to build is the interface to allow a knowledge worker to get as much leverage out of their job as possible, and creating this autonomous computing experience, which is the future. And when we're pitching that to our customers and our partners, it's almost having that exact same voila moment that you got when you first used an iPhone and I first got into a Tesla. And that experience of every day I am using this tool 8 to 10 hours a day as a knowledge worker, you know what? That tool is not nearly as efficient as it possibly can be. And so the hands analogy is great. I think we're actually building an autonomous computer that leverages everything a knowledge worker needs to do for the future. And that's obviously incredibly exciting and gratifying to see that working.
Okay. And when you say knowledge worker, just explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, so a knowledge worker is essentially you and I and everyone else listening to this. We go to work in the morning and we use our big brains to create leverage. And so it's accountants, it's lawyers, it's stockbrokers, it's anyone using a computer in their brain. That is a knowledge worker.
Right. Okay. So what products have you? What product or products do you have then, and how ready are they?
Yeah, so the Cykel agent, which is the first version of our product, as we had mentioned in the last interview, was in closed beta through Q4, Q1. We had some pretty ambitious sales targets of 5 customers. Obviously, that went very, very well. And you can read our prospectus a little bit more on how we've done there, but we smashed that. We also have a partnership pipeline, which is incredibly strong. And we think ultimately we're going to go to market through partnerships. So we are going to market through people that are already selling into these organizations, have relationships with CFOs and CTOs in those organizations. And we're seeing real leverage points around those people coming in with our agent tool and being able to sell that on with great margin to the enterprise.
Okay, so you smashed your 5 customers that you wanted to get in Q1. So can you give an example of the customers that you're working with and what the solution is that the Cykel agent provides?
Yeah, absolutely. So we sort of bucket into 3 or 4 areas. I'll give you the simple one that I gave in the last conversation that we had. It's in our prospectus as well, which is I'm a sales team. I am constantly putting leads into Salesforce, trying to get someone's email information as an example, and pulling these systems into, disparate systems into Salesforce with one goal. And the goal is essentially to sell you something, not to actually be putting that information into Salesforce. So one of the great use cases that we have now is this idea that I can automate that. So I can get your name, I can put it into the tool, I can get your email through Zoom Info as an example. This is what the tool is doing, to be clear. I can get the tool to add you to Salesforce. I can get the agent to get you into a meeting. I can get the agent to get you into a webinar. And then I can get the agent to move you through Salesforce as you progress as a sales lead. That is all, again, autonomous outside of the salesperson's control. And then the punchline of that is I'm giving a salesperson 30 to 40% more of their day to actually talk and pitch you and close opportunities and revenue.
Right.
So what we're seeing is these people are closing more deals because they're being more efficient.
So taking away, that admin of getting that sort of meeting or that phone call, it's autonomously, effectively doing that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Optimizing people's time. Are Salesforce a customer?
Salesforce are not a customer. They are a potential partner, which is a very interesting opportunity there. Let me give you 2 more analogies. So another one's marketing, right? So the same thing. Marketing is this use of these disparate technology tools. I want to create campaigns. I want to see if those campaigns are working. I want to optimize those campaigns. Imagine a tool where I could just say, do an A/B split test on this campaign right now. And again, this is just verbal or through the user interface. And I am starting to get massive leverage for that marketing person. We're seeing that as another really, really good use case. And then another one's e-commerce, right? So I've got a bunch of SKUs. I'm managing them across Amazon. I'm managing them across Shopify. That is a ton of admin. Inventory tied to sales, tied to marketing, tied to accounting. All of those things, again, can be automated through the agent.
Okay. And is it a bespoke agent or is it a one-size-fits-all?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. We started as this idea that we are going to be a SaaS-based business and one size fits all. Learnings obviously are very important in a tech company. We have learned that is not where the market's at. The market is not at a place where you can just download this thing and use it yourself. And this is where I think the partnership opportunity is so exciting, right? Because we're moving into this bespoke, more enterprise sales opportunity. What that does is it leads to much bigger deals, 5-6-figure style deals. The margin is still great because we have the underlying tool that's already been built, but there's more consultative sales approach. What we're seeing in that is a much more delighted customer. And I think it can scale through partners, as I already suggested.
That makes sense. I remember we talked about the SaaS model. I was going to ask you that, but you've cleared that up quite well there. So that makes a lot more sense, going through partnerships for a bespoke solution. So you're revenue generating at the moment?
We are, absolutely.
Yeah. In terms of targets, metrics, growth plans, how you can measure yourself, what's the next sort of, 3-6 months look like?
Yeah, more partners, more clients. So we are obviously just listed on the LSE as a new technology company. We don't put out projections, right? Because we are too early in that phase. We are going to update the market on a quarterly basis on some of the metrics that we care about, which is users, tasks, revenue. And we'll start to do that very shortly. And the ultimate reality is that we are in, I think, the largest growth market in technology I've ever seen. I've been through Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I've never seen anything like AI. And you talk about these huge numbers and billions and trillions. I can't even keep track anymore.
Sure.
What I'm seeing is every company we talk to has an AI task force, is AI curious, and is spending budget. And I've never been in an opportunity where it's literally 100% of every company is saying, if I don't do this, I'm going to get left out. And guess what? They don't really know what to do.
Yeah, they don't know what to do. I think that's the thing. You don't know the scope. But yeah, you can't talk about forward-looking statements, but we will talk about that when we can, or targets. But you're basically saying, grow users, grow tasks, grow revenue. Is that effectively what you're saying? Yeah, okay.
Grow a great company, and then coming back to it, grow a company where the valuation to get in as an investor isn't Nvidia and isn't Microsoft and Facebook, right? You can ride this wave with us through what I think is a huge growth market.
Well, just finishing off on riding that wave, the general AI space. I mean, yes, Nvidia blowing off top there. Fears of a bubble, or you just think it's getting started? And then just thinking about the Must shareholders, you obviously feel this is how would this be a much better opportunity for those guys who perhaps have been legacy shareholders in that shell?
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually use a baseball analogy, but for British users, I could use a football analogy. We are in the first 10 minutes of the game, or the second inning of a baseball game. We are in such an early stage in this that the wave hasn't even started to crest yet. As it relates to the Mustang holders, obviously they've been a great group of people to work with. They have been looking for a transformational deal for some time. And I think AI, it wasn't a hard pitch, but clearly with my track record and my team's track record, they looked at that and said, we could have another Argo style moment here. Let's go do it. And that's where we're at.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Jonathan Bixby, the executive chairman and founder of Cykel AI. And we're going to be following this story very closely.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.